Was there an awareness of the performance enhancing drugs scandals and all that stuff, or was this before that?
No. This is during that.
Were you aware of it? Was it a part of the lifestyle for you?
Well, not for me.
Phil Phails for you.
Okay.
And I didn't see that on my team.
You didn't.
But it was a major part of cycling.
Even in the minor league teams or the teams that were...
Even when I was a junior.
Really?
Yeah.
What were they doing?
When I was a junior, not in California, but when I went to Belgium, there was a lot of drugs. I was like totally shocked what I would see.
They would offer them to you?
Yes.
What kind of drugs?
It's usually hormonal, like testosterone. And or stimulants. Stimulants can help you push a little bit harder, a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And there's I would say gray areas. Okay. I'll give you an example. Albuterol is like an asthma medicine.
Okay.
It dilates your airways to your lungs.
Okay.
And you can use it if you have a prescription from a doctor. So every person on my team had asthma. And we all had a prescription and we all had albuterol.
You all had asthma.
Well, and I'm talking about my team, but everyone had albuterol. Caffeine is a stimulant that everyone drinks coffee. Not everyone, but you know what I mean? Like it's very common.
Yep.
And you can use caffeine in cycling. There's a limit. And I would say for most people, that limit would probably be like counterproductive to your performance. But yeah, there's a limit to how much caffeine you can take, but you can take a lot of caffeine and it will help you with your cycling. And we know that today, like this is back in the 90s, but I mean, you can barely buy like gels and bars and stuff that don't have caffeine in them.
Yep.
Just having like a little hit of like 50 milligrams or 75, like it makes a big deal.
I drink a coffee before rides. I don't do it after rides. The coffee needs a place to go.
Coffee needs a place to go. The energy, yeah. But it can take you from like kind of dragging out it, like, getting ready for the ride. Like I'm kind of dragging, like I want to ride. I know I need to, I'm tired, to like, let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes a difference.
And those things were legal. The albuterol was legal because you had asthma.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't have asthma, but you had asthma.
I had asthma.
You did have wink, or
I
really had asthma?
I had asthma.
Okay.
But then I also...
But everybody didn't have asthma.
No.
You couldn't be a professional. Isn't that like...
Here's another...
To be a professional cyclist and have asthma seems to be like...
Here's a great example was they didn't have really today we have very sophisticated testing.
To determine whether or not you have asthma.
Well, let's say testosterone.
Okay.
Not only can they tell like you've taken synthetic testosterone, they can tell like months later. They can tell like, oh, this ratio in your blood isn't right. You must have done something to your testosterone. Back then, it was like, this is the limit of how much testosterone you can have in your blood.
Yeah.
It has to be high because you're talking about like athletic males training in the altitude.
Yeah.
So it has to be high. And then magically, everyone has that.
That exact level.
Yes. And then if they miss it, back then, if you miss it, it was like, oh, like $250 fine or something.
If you go over it?
Yeah. It wasn't
because you're
like,
playing with a fine edge, right? I mean, it's not like...
But now today, if you get caught for testosterone, you're going to be suspended for like 2 years. And
oh, wow.
And it's a big deal. Back then, it was a little bit different.
But it was a part of the culture was using, whether it was albuterol or coffee or testosterone to get an edge.
Yeah. And then later, like getting towards the mid 90s, then EPO came.
You were still cycling then, were you?
My last race was in 96.
Oh, so you were there.
Yeah. And people started using EPO like 93, 94, 95.
People in your circles?
Not necessarily people that I raced with.
Yeah.
But my competitors, yes.
Whoa.
And
how could you compete with them?
Well, it was hard. Yeah. And I think that I lost opportunities in some cases because I didn't use that. But it was, if you're talking about what the culture was not like healthy sports. The culture was, how do I get a better result?
Whatever we got to do to win.
Yes.
So you were offered EPO or whatever and turned it down?
No.
Did you ever have the like crisis moment where you had to decide?
When I was a junior, I was offered testosterone.
Yeah, and you turned it down?
I was really afraid to take it.
Because
Yeah.
you thought what? You'd turn into the Hulk or something?
No, I was afraid like I would be a cheater. I was afraid. I wanted to know how hard or how far I could go myself.
You were a purist back then when you were a kid?
Yeah. But I wasn't exposed to the full culture back then either. I was like
Right.
18.
Yeah.
But I would see like in Europe, every bike race has locker rooms. It's different. Like here in America, we get dressed in our car for the races and stuff.
Right.
But in locker rooms, there was like just drugs everywhere. People like syringes, all kinds of stuff.
Whoa.
Yeah. And this is for teenagers.
For teenagers.
And then once you're in the professional ranks, then it's more structured with doctors and so on.
Goodness.
Yeah.
What was training like when you were a pro cyclist?
It was a lot about volume.
It's like miles on the road.
Yeah. I would train. Well, it depended on the time of the season, but there was lots of times I was training 25 to 30 hours a week. Hard.
Which is like 300, 350 miles?
No, like 600.
600 miles a week.
Yeah. 500 to 600 miles a week, roughly. I would usually do it when you have that level of fitness, just going kind of like at zone 2, easy pace,
Yeah.
is pretty hard. It's fast. So we would train all the time. I would say nutrition is the biggest changes. Like we would starve ourselves.
You would starve yourselves?
Yes.
Because you wanted to be light?
Yes. Cycling is just strength to weight ratio, right? The weight's more important on the hills than it is on the flats, but it's just how hard you can push the pedals compared to how much you weigh. And so we would starve ourselves. It wasn't healthy.
That does not sound healthy.
It was not healthy. Certainly I have, it hurt me. Eventually, you just get sick, weak, anemic,
Ugh.
your health falls apart.
But you got to have the nutrition you got to burn carbs, right?
I mean, I would love to have had 2026 understanding and technology,
Right.
but
Right.
I wasn't doing anything that everyone else wasn't doing. We were all doing the same thing. We all were using what we had at the time was the best way to do it.
But y'all, nutritionally, it seems like it might have been behind the times, but y'all are probably using other technology and other like data and metrics to help you understand how to eke out those margins, like narrow the margins, like wind tunnels and, you know, I don't know, all the stuff hooked up to your body when you're on
Yes.
the bike.
I mean, wind tunnels were already being used, let's say in the late 80s. Doctors became trainers. And so training programs became more sophisticated, more specific.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times it was just like ride your bike a lot. And that was like the advice. But then cycling became more sophisticated and very specific in the training and the technology. At that time, I started using a heart monitor when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And even now as a coach today, I think everything I need is in your heart rate. I use heart rate for my own personal training and how I train people.
Really?
Yeah.
'Cause that tells you what zone you're in, right?
Yeah. It tells me the effort that you're putting into the bike. And it can also tell me how you're recovering. It can tell me if you're feeling good or bad, how high you can get your heart rate, how long you can hold it there. Power meters are the big thing today. And they tell you the output, which is
Watts.
Yeah, and it's a great tool. And actually, I don't require it as a coach, but everyone that's come to me for coaching has a power meter.
Yeah.
And it's a really great way to quantify the impact of the training. Like, over this time period, you were able to you average this heart rate, but your watts went up to here.
Same heart rate, higher watts.
Yes. So everyone I can coach, we can quantify like you're getting stronger.
Yeah.
Whereas when I was racing in the 90s, it was just my results in races, which there's a lot of variables to that. But it was just a little bit less sophisticated then. And the nutrition was all about it was about carbs.
Yeah.
But we starved ourselves. I was skinny. We were hungry all the time. Yeah.